It's time for another Role Players Podcast episode. I am your host, Byron, also known as Words of Wisdom. I don't know. Sometimes I'm wise, sometimes I'm not. And as always, I'm here with my guy, my broski, philosophical Mr. Know-It-All, all the nicknames, aka Jay. Jay, how you doing, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I got a big game coming up this weekend, brother.
A big
game.
Big game where?
My 49ers against the Bills. I was talking a little trash to one of my neighbors. He's a Bills fan. I can't say what I said on the air.
Oh wow, you're not out there terrorizing people with those 49er minors, are you?
I am, man. You have to blame. And then I told him, I say, man, blame Bill Mafia and Dollar Bill. And he was like, who's Dollar Bill? I said, just blame him.
Just that if you are a Buffalo Bill fan and you hear us hating on you, it has nothing to do with you. Nothing. It's all Dollar Bill. I mean, the guy's he's a menace. He's a menace. And then he's belling on the fantasy league. He had the audacity to make a comment under my fantasy football post. And I thought to myself, you don't participate in this. Even when you participate, you don't participate because you just suck, man. You suck.
Hold up, what did he say? That's the same post that you posted. That was another league though. That's not the league we're in together, right?
No, it's the league we're in together. Matter of fact, I think we're in all leagues together.
Okay. So it's in League 2.
Yeah, it's in League 2, man. And I posted that I'm number one in the league by statistics and wins and points and all of that good stuff. And he had the audacity to say something in regards to my team or something. And I just was like, man, here you go again. So let us start up this weekly feud, you and I. Oh, man, but it's been a week, man. I too have a big game coming up. I have a big fantasy football game coming up, and man, I need a dub so I can solidify this playoff run. Those of you that are out there in our sleeper league, if you're listening to this, I'm probably going 3 tight ends this week. So
wow,
things can get hairy, Jay.
Man, your running back's down too.
Which one?
He hasn't practiced all week. Jacobs.
Yes. They're making things a bit more of a challenge for me than I would like.
Well, this is the last week of fantasy football. Tuesday, for our fantasy leagues, I have an important message for everyone. So stay tuned.
Oh, it sounds like someone's going to try to leave the league or something.
I'll never leave the league. I do have a very important message for everyone.
Well, go ahead and deliver your message. They say don't shoot the messenger, but I too can say do not shoot the messenger because this message is not from me. It's from the Night Commission that participates in NCAA football, and they're just a third party that's involved to make sure that things are equal and even on all playing fronts for NCAA athletes, or I should say academic athletes, student athletes, coaches, teams, universities. So they make sure things are legit or a lot more fair. They've been around for 3 decades or so, and they've implemented a lot of changes that we may overlook, but they are big to the NCAA game or the college football game. So now one of the proposals that they have out here It's a major one, and it's going to shake things up. I don't know how Role Player Nation is going to feel about this. I don't know. But the Knight Commission has proposed that the FBS separates itself from the NCAA, and they make a new league called the National College Football Association. Now, I actually think that this could be huge. I mean, absolutely huge, man. The possibilities that could come from this entire thing could go as far as student athletes getting paid. It could be the revenue sharing changing all across the board. It could be a shift in a lot of football teams not even participating in the big boys league. You know what I'm saying? So they've already said that some teams may want to pledge their allegiance to the NCAA, and that's fine. But if you pledge allegiance to the NCAA and you stay under the governance of the NCAA, under the proposed split, of course, but if you stay with the NCAA, then you won't be able to participate in the college football playoffs. You won't be a part of the big boys league anymore. And you can see a major shift in the conferences. The Power Five may take shifts. They are actually trying to not so much eliminate the Power Five, but just make things a lot more even down the middle. Surprisingly, only 25% of the coaches and universities that are a part of the FBS, which is 130 schools, only 25% of those schools said that they're pleased with the way revenue sharing is going. So that leaves 75%. And last time I checked, when I was in school, 75%, that's passing. That's passing, dog. I don't know what to tell you. So this thing does have legs. Now, of course, they say that they understand that this wouldn't be an overnight process. And we would absolutely have to understand it wouldn't be an overnight process, because think back to when the NCAA conferences in college basketball had divisional shifts, and a lot of people changed conferences. You had Connecticut going from the Big East to whatever that conference was in the middle of nowhere. You had a lot of teams come down to the ACC. Notre Dame in basketball officially joined the ACC. You had a lot of shifting around. That was not an overnight process, and actually Connecticut has made their way back to the Big East. So things could be different and a jumble for, what do you say, maybe the first 5-10 years of this thing. So it's not an easy process, but I've babbled enough about the background of this thing. I want to hear Jay's take on this.
So my take on this, which, you know, this really is very interesting, because I'm trying to figure out how is this not being talked about? Like, this is so major right now. This could shake up sports as a whole. It even trickles down to the professional leagues, because somewhat the NCAA and the colleges have been pretty much a minor league system for the professional leagues, basketball, football, not more so baseball, but definitely football and basketball. So my understanding is they are not pleased with what they call, quote unquote, the NCAA, because of it. They receive all of the money, in which even going into COVID, because a lot of the complaints are being about the level playing field. And then I'm reading where it's just like they're criticizing the commercialized environment, but the student athletes aren't receiving money. So this Knights Commission, bro, this is crazy. Like this almost sounds unreal. You know what I'm saying? But this Knight Commission is not. We're all are three parties who's running college sports per se. But like you said, pretty much when these night commissions speak, this is like God of college sports. Normally when they speak, everyone listen. So to me, it looked like they are leaning towards splitting up college sports, man, splitting up college football. Per se, they really going heavy on college football because they're unhappy. Like we spoke about the other day, Ohio State trying to get back into the bowl race. But then you have Coastal Carolina out here. They want a piece of that pie as well. They want to build a university up. You got Coastal Carolina and BYU playing a game against each other just so they can kind of boost up their rankings a little bit. But the crazy part is I heard today that Ohio State, and I couldn't believe this. I said, man, this system stinks. And I'll get into why I feel that way. But I was like, this system stinks because do you know they are politicking through the Big Ten to gain teams that they have already played. So they could play a Nebraska, they could play a Michigan, they could play someone else twice, and they would get their sixth game.
What?
Yeah. So Nebraska said they're open to playing them twice. So of course they didn't say, well, we'll play Michigan again or we'll play Indiana. They chose Nebraska.
Duh.
Who are Penn State, someone that they have beat who doesn't have a win. They're not going to try and play one of the per se tougher opponents that they've played. And Nebraska has agreed. They, it's just trying to set it up now. But it's almost blasphemy, man. Like, I mean, shame to Notre Dame, shame to Clemson. I mean, I feel bad for these guys. It's SEC. Like, what about Florida, who may not get a chance to play? Like, they done played the whole schedule in the resume. So what this night commission is going to do is they're going to break. They're tired of the NCAA politicking, BCS, and I mean, because basically you're saying they don't have to play a schedule. Why even play? Why we just didn't come into the season with 4 teams and we pick those teams and say these guys are going to play for national championship. This is our playoff right now. Instead, they played the whole season, and those smaller schools are upset. Dating all the way back to the college tournament. Now, this is why I was upset, because I say, COVID is going on. Either you need to play or you don't, or you need to sit. You don't need to be playing half game schedules. Like, either come out with it set in stone and, hey, we're going to play half a season. Like, you can't change the rules in between. Like, for God's sake, we didn't even name a college champion last year for college basketball. Now, granted, my Kansas Jayhawks was number one. I'm a big Kansas Jayhawk basketball fan, but I could give 2 fiddlesticks if they would have named them national champions, although we were number one. Hell, for all I care, it could went to number 2. But you cannot leave the season wide open like that. That's the only sport has left the season open and blank. I don't even know if baseball got going. But it's like you have got to have more concrete groundwork and legwork in NCAA sports. And this is why the night commission is speaking and is leaning towards things to get ready to change for the Power 5. I'm sitting here looking at it and I can't not believe how this is going under the radar. I guess the NCAA say we can't let this leak out. What you think about it?
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about the NCAA saying, look, let's keep this thing under the rug because the last thing we need are the fans gearing up towards this thing, because it seems as if the universities, the college, maybe even some of the athletes, they're leaning towards this thing being split and going in a different direction. Now, something that I left out from the I guess the build up when I was building up the story is that all of the other sports will remain untouched, unscathed. This will be strictly the FBS. It will be the 130 schools that participate in the FBS. Division 1 and Division 2 will still be governed by the NCAA. But here are my thoughts. This is what this thing means to me. Okay. Now, Jay said it best. I think this coronavirus, I think COVID-19 was it was a major poison pill to this entire season. I think it shed a lot of light on just how chaotic the governance of NCAA football, FBS, the 130 schools is. You have all of these the conferences are self-governed. They're allowed to make the rules, dictate how they're playing football. And I understand you have to give some leeway to the conference itself because it's its own thing. But how is it that Ohio State is still in the top 4? They took a loss. They're still in the top 4 for the college football playoffs. Okay, that's a whole nother thing from the NCAA. And then in the NCAA, you have the Big Ten, which is underneath the NCAA, but they're governing how things are going, and it's getting approved, quote unquote, by the NCAA. And the NCAA is saying, well, hey, you need another team to get you to 6 games. We don't care who you play. Just play someone. How the hell is that possible? This is crazy. This is chaotic. This is a zoo. COVID has put the poison pill into this season. I think this would be a great new alignment for the NCAA and for college football, or the proposed NCFA, to finally get a grip on this thing and make college football something that is beneficial to not only coaches, not only players, not only universities, not only the governance of it all, but the fans. Because you have a lot of fans. I see it all the time in the role player group. They're going back and forward with all of the headlines that's coming out. This team is canceling their game this weekend. Well, some of these teams, for example, Florida State keeps allowing teams to travel all the way to Tallahassee every week. And then when they get to the game day, they say, oh, by the way, we're not playing because things are going up. Like, how the hell is that even possible? This is a zoo, man. And I think of all of the big sports that's going on this fall, National Basketball Association, National Football Association, all of the sports. Even you could even say baseball because it bled into the fall. Of all the sports, man, college football seems a little loopy. It seems like college basketball has a better grip on this thing than college football. There has to be some type of direction that puts everyone in the same boat. Instead of everyone being in their own conferences, governing themselves, saying, hey, we're the ACC. We're going to play by these rules. Well, hey, we're SEC. We're going to play underneath these rules. And then we're Big Ten. We're going to do it this way. And then we're going to start college football 2 to 3 weeks later from everyone else. And we're going to make it that much of a strain to get everyone underneath the college football playoffs, which is a whole nother thing. And I do mean playoffs. It's a whole nother thing. You have too many different governing bodies in college football for it to be so big. And by the way, here's a little stat. Because of the way college football has accelerated in profits over the past decade or so, the coaches' salaries have doubled. And I'm saying doubled, man, doubled. In like the past decade, you have Jim Harbaugh, Dabo, you have Nick Saban. These guys are making oodles and oodles of money. But what about the integrity of the game? It's crazy, man. What about the game being played and managed and governed the correct way? For what it's worth, I know a lot of people are giving the NFL hell because they're saying, well, they're making these games still happen and go on. And you had the Baltimore Ravens go out there with basically a JV squad and all of this crazy talk. You might not like Roger Goodell. You may not like the NFL, but at least they're a governing body. And they're saying, hey, through hell and high water, we're going to get these games played at all costs if we can to avoid the Super Bowl and playoffs going down the drain due to this whole pandemic that's going on. We all know that a pandemic is going on, but hey, let's try to get through it the best way we can. And college football has made a mud pie of the whole entire fall sports picture. It's ugly. And that's just how I feel.
I agree. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, man. And you know, I'm gonna say it like this. You know, it's basically it is. It's 100%. It's 100% football. No, it's 100% football. But I do believe that if football, see, there's a little thing. Once football, because you know we changed college football to the playoff, and then the NCAA started saying, the NCAA basketball started saying, okay, should we let more teams into the tournament? You know, they even thought about putting like 90 teams in the tournament, and it was like, what? So, they went from 90, but I do believe that if they change the landscape of football, it's going to trickle down definitely to the basketball. Baseball, not too sure. I definitely know basketball will make a change as well. That's it. It'll be once football change things and they say, oh, okay, that may work right there. Let's throw our head into the fire. Let's throw our head into the ring. This right here is definitely major. I'm just interested how this is going to shake out.
Oh, definitely. And you know, in 2020, it's man. You know, we watch all of these movies like I don't know, Mad Max. We watch all of these movies like Terminator 2, the whole Terminator series. I just said Terminator 2 because that's my favorite. And don't sleep on Terminator 3 if you're out there. It's actually, I think it's the second best one of the series. But, well, the original trilogy. But not to get on a tangent. It's just been a crazy new world under this pandemic, man. And I know that it's not easy to just say, hey, we're going to wake up and get through this thing and we're not going to miss a beat. Nobody's going to catch coronavirus. Nobody's coming down with COVID-19. I understand that. I'm not weighing in on anyone. I'm not piling on anyone that has to make the tough decisions to get these things done on a daily basis, whether it's sports or whether it's big business. It doesn't matter. But the pandemic has turned everything upside down. And not just college football, but it turned the NBA upside down as well. And especially during the bubble. Now, a lot of flack came my way. A lot of flack, you know, Jay, as Melvin says, a lot of flack. I caught a lot of flack from saying that the bubble and the NBA championship should not go. Well, I said that it should have an asterisk beside it. Now, a lot of people said, oh, man, you know, that was great basketball. That was hardcore. That was the real deal. How dare you say those guys weren't playing? How dare you say they didn't earn it the right way? I'm not saying they're not playing. But this year was different. And I'm not the only one that thinks it was different. I now have someone that can validate what I was saying, and his name is Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard said that the NBA bubble was way easier than any season. Now, that's all I was saying, guys, that this NBA bubble had a big time missing element. And when Damian Lillard put it into words, my guy Dame, when he put it into words, he said, you know, you didn't have fans. And then to add on to that, he said, well, also you took out the element of travel. You took out the element of, oh, well, we got to go from this hotel, that hotel. We have to leave the arena and then catch a flight. He said, when you left the bubble, you walked across the Disney resort, which wasn't far, and you went to your room. The meals were already prepared. Training was already prepared. Practice was easy. You just go back and forward. It wasn't hard. He said it wasn't hard at all. And he also went as far as saying that's probably why you saw a lot of guys' numbers elevated because players were well rested. Players were treated exceptionally well in the bubble. So that's all I was saying. You had guys, what's the guy for the Pacers, Jay? He was going crazy.
Warren.
Yeah,
TJ Warren.
TJ Warren. TJ Warren
Almost,
at one,
I almost
at
called
one
him something else.
at one point, TJ Warren was the new sheriff in town. It wasn't LeBron. It wasn't Dame Lillard. It wasn't none of the big time superstars that you know. It was just one of these guys that's in a reserve role, or he's just the starter that fills in the gaps between your stars. This guy was Mr. Indiana Pacer, Mr. Eastern Conference All-Star. This guy was everything for pretty much the majority of the bubble that the Pacers were in it. It was very easy, guys. Now, I'm not an NBA player. If you know me, you know I'm not an NBA player. I'm not a basketball player, but I am an avid fan of sports. I love basketball. I love it. I may not talk about it a lot, but I love it. That bubble play was very easy, man. If you don't have the element of fans, now you do have big time players like Dame Lillard, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, hell, even Paul George for what it's worth. And we know how I feel about Paul George. These guys, they don't get moved by the fans. But what about the Danny Greens, the TJ Warrens, the Aaron Gordons, the young rookies, the Jamal Murrays, because he went absolutely bonkers during the bubble. And I'm not saying Murray is a good player, but you're basically playing practice. That's what you're doing. You're playing a pickup game practice. There's nobody there except for you, the other team, the referees, coaches, and ESPN's cameras. There are no fans. There's no fan to throw beer on you. There's no fan to say, yeah, man, you suck. There's no brick behind the goal post. There's no body running at the baseline trying to get you to miss a free throw. Now, not all players are distracted by that, but some players are because all players are not created equally. Guys, you went in on me saying that there should be no asterisk, but Dame Lillard pretty much, without saying it, said it, that, hey, it was easy. I'm not saying these guys didn't earn it. But I am saying these guys didn't get it out of the NBA mud. Think about the regular season when you have to go on a road trip. You know, that's all we hear about. Well, you know, this team's on a road trip. They're on a road trip. They have the next 5-7 games on the road. What happens when you're on a tour in the Southeast and you're all the way from the West Coast? You have jet lag to factor in. You have travel to factor in. You have going from different climates to factor in, because we all know when you go to Colorado, you're in a different climate. The elevation level is different. Things happen with your body, you know? So you're in the most beautiful place in the world, beautiful Florida, where all of the country goes to retire because it's perfect. It's perfect in Orlando. That's why it's the Magic Kingdom, because it's just magical down there. There's no factors to go into this thing. Dame said it. I didn't. I know if Dame hits me up tonight, because that's my guy. If he hits me up tonight, he's going to say, well, that's not what I was saying. Dame, I know that's not what you were saying, but you added an element to what I was saying. I absolutely respect what Dame Lillard and LeBron James and all of those guys did. However, I will not go without noticing, hey, these guys, they did it under untraditional circumstances. That's all I'm saying, man. If we look back at the Wikipedia pages, which is a horrible place to cite, but I cited. But if you look back at the Wikipedia pages, if you look back at the ESPN pages, if you look back at any history book, it's going to say star, dash, whatever. And it's going to say this is a lockout year. This was a year that the league was on a strike. So if those are in the history books, then surely we can put in there, this was the coronavirus year. I'm not saying I don't recognize LeBron's title. Sure, he has his fourth ring? 2 more to go. But hey.
Yeah.
It did go down with an asterisk. Come on, Jay, man. Back me up. Back me up.
I mean, I caught a ton of flack, man. I mean, I was called a bitter fan because Phoenix wasn't in it, or Phoenix didn't get out the initial bubble, the initial first wave bubble. We just came to the bubble. We wasn't necessarily invited to stay at the bubble. And I was just like, I say, well, it's not that. It's the fact that this is not ideal. That's not ideal sports for professionals. Let me put it that way. Dame Lillard was hitting shots from freaking Egypt, bro. He was taking he was on fire. Probably because, one of the reasons they say that was one of the best shooting environments that a shooter could have. Pressure. It was nobody on the sideline heckling them. There was nobody. I mean, they was just shooting. The background setting was perfect with no fans. They was just basically shooting kind of like practice, like shooting in an empty gym. So for me, I know the significance of role players. We know what role players are. Hell, we're role players, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I just look at football. Football has been very, very challenging. Very, very challenging. Football is tough because of now you can hear audibles. For you couldn't hear audibles before. You can hear the afflictions, the voice you could jump off. But essentially, do you think maybe Herbert would be having the season he's having if he had tons and millions of fans calling him a kid? Because he looks just like a kid, screaming at him at the top of his lungs. Herbert, you're sorry. Herbert, you're in this ain't Oregon anymore. I mean, kickers. Look how the kicking rate from kickers missing kicks has gone down. Nah, you didn't know that, huh? The kicker rate from kickers missing kicks has gone down simply because this is less pressure now. You know what I mean? Even though NFL has been tough, you also have the element where they are possibly thinking about going into a bubble. So we all know, imagine all the great games in Green Bay without being on that frozen tundra. Can you imagine if they play the NFC playoffs in Arizona or Dallas in the AFC playoffs? I mean, that's what we're leaning towards. 2 indoor places. I mean, for fans who Chicago Bear fans, your team may possibly make the playoffs. I can remember 2 years ago, my 49ers going up there and the wind was blowing. I think you may remember this game, B, because we were sitting there at the bar watching that game. I think we was watching Jacksonville. We was watching New Orleans and someone else. And they were literally throwing knuckle because they couldn't complete a pass. I mean, those are the elements that makes football. Baseball, likewise, as well. I mean, there's no pressure with going in there without fans. I mean, it's kind of like a glorified practice, kind of like a scrimmage. And I think basketball bubble should definitely have an asterisk. I mean, you allow guys to extend their rosters once you returned. It definitely should have an asterisk on it. I have been calling LeBron's championship. He just got a COVID ring. So he has a COVID ring and a half season ring, right? The lockout ring, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, so when he gets speak to behind Kobe's and the Jordans, he's going to have an asterisk on 2 of his rings unless he just come out and dominate the next 2 years and get 2 rings to the league when his son's a freshman, his son's a rookie in the league, and he win a championship at like 40 or 41. That's the only way he can overcome the Jordan shadow. Because hey, this guy has a COVID lockout ring. That's 2 rings. They frowned upon Tim Duncan for a long time for having a lockout ring, and they said it was with David Robinson. So yes, there's an asterisk. It's an asterisk on it. I think NFL's going to have an asterisk on it, but I think there's going to be a positive asterisk because what you've seen, if I'm a Baltimore Raven fan, now I know I've complained about my 49ers, but there's no way in hell I ever want to see him touch my football field again after what he displayed last week. They ain't put him on IR today. How ironic.
Right. Yeah, Jay, you said it best. And, again, we like LeBron James. I know that LeBron James is going to go down as one of the most skilled basketball players, if not the most skilled basketball player of all time. I know that LeBron is a champion. But his ring has an asterisk on it, guys. Come on, man. Come on with me. And just to make it clear, it's not just NBA that we're targeting. Like Jay said, it's a lot of other sports. To end this debate, I'm just going to tell you what Lamar Jackson says is the biggest challenge this year. He says that the defense knows their exact plays. Do you want to know why they probably know his exact plays? Because they can clearly hear him call the plays. They're not getting pumped in fan noise like we're getting on TV. They're hearing Lamar Jackson say, swizzle dizzle, old dog down, Omaha, Omaha. They're hearing it. They're learning the calls. And it's Lamar Jackson. We all know that he's not the greatest quarterback. We know that. So it may just be that easy for them to say, there goes Lamar going to the right again. There goes Lamar going to the left. Up is Lamar to Andrews. Up is Lamar to a running back. It's easy. It's predictable. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. But he's not the only guy that's struggling through this. And like Jay said, if Justin Babyface Herbert was playing in a full stadium and they're saying, hey, kid, get out of here. Hey, kid, you suck. You stink. You're a bust. Oh, you threw an interception. They're going to draft another quarterback. You can't win. Would he survive? I don't know. And no one will ever know because there's not going to be many fans, especially now with the rise of these COVID numbers. There's not going to be many fans watching from the stands. You don't have to worry about it. But what you do have to worry about is the role players are going to stick by their asterisks. It's just what it is. Dame said it best. It was way easier. So just live with it. Deal with it, man. I don't want anyone coming for our head on this, but if you do, by all means, please direct the heat to Jay and I. We take all forms of hate. Tweets, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, the memes. Just send it our way. We'll take it on, but
Dame was on fire in that
Dame
bubble, man.
Was electric. That guy was next level. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the bubble. I enjoyed it. So I don't want anyone to get that misconstrued. I don't want them to misconstrue that. But it's a lot to unpack during this episode. I just got to be able to wind down. And I guess since the Panthers are on the bye, we're going to take this nice and easy, nice and slow. So this is for the Keep Pounding Nation. We didn't forget about you. I know you haven't heard from us in a few weeks, and it's mostly because of the holidays. A lot was going on. It was hard to just get this together on, hey, let's catch up with you when everyone's trying to spend that quality time with their family. Myself, Jay, our mother, we're trying to fit it all in without being able to be in each other's faces and having masks on. So I know you all missed us, but please understand. And especially Keep Pounding Nation. We've been here watching you lose. We've been here. We've seen the losses, okay? And it's look, nobody's gonna hold that Minnesota loss against you all. Because that was a bad loss. You had 2 defensive touchdowns from a rookie safety.
Back-to-back plays. He returned the fumble, and then on the very next offensive play, he returned another fumble for touchdown.
Plays, man. You know, no one's going to hold that loss against you. No one's going to look at that game and say, hey, they essentially went into the game and did everything correct. No one's going to hold that against you. You stopped Dalvin Cook. I know you stopped Dalvin Cook for the most part because I didn't have a monster day with Dalvin Cook on my fantasy teams. You guys really screwed the pooch on that one. But I'm not holding it against Keep Pounding Nation. What we're here to discuss is what is working in Carolina and what's not. And I'm going to make my candidate for what's working is, as crazy as it seems, and I'm take a big leap here, Jay. But the defense is working from the standpoint. Now, I don't want you guys to get carried away and say, yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying. No. The defense is still bad. It's bad. But, man, they have landed some pieces in Carolina. You have Brian Burns. You have, I can't even think of the linebacker's name right now. He's pretty solid. You have Chin. You really have a good secondary. But you got to get some defensive linemen up front to go along with Brian Burns. That rookie from Auburn, he's just not fitting the bill. He's not fitting the bill. That was a first-round pick, guys. And then you got to fill out that linebacker core. Now, who am I thinking about, Jay? Shaq Thompson? I can't.
That's got to be.
I'm all over the place because this has been a loaded episode. But yeah, but you need that Luke Kuechly back in there. You need that 1-2 punch at linebacker. You need defensive line depth and starters. So, and I'm not using that as what's going wrong. I'm gonna take Jay, what do you think is going right? Because I'm gonna save my what's going wrong.
Well, I think a lot of the Panther fans are disappointed in Teddy Bridgewater. But Teddy Bridgewater, let me tell you something, man. You lost Christian McCaffrey, and Teddy Bridgewater, and the rest of this team has kept it afloat. I mean, the wide receivers, Samuel has been playing out of this world. You found something kind of in Mike Davis. I'm not saying you can go forward with Mike Davis, but I'm saying bringing in another running back is definitely because now you know, hey, we could keep Christian McCaffrey a little healthy and maybe save some, wear and tear on this guy. But definitely Derrick Brown was definitely not the answer. I mean, Chin was a good steal. I think they got some other bright spots on this football team. I like the direction they're going. I would like to see what next season is going to bring. Basically talking about the off season, because the off season right now for the Panthers, like what are they going to do? Like who are they going to target? Are they going to spend some money? It's not, don't be too hard on Teddy B, man. Teddy B actually giving you a bunch of bright spots on this football team, because now you didn't think your wide receivers were that decent, but you've got some pretty good production out of these guys. You can find a steal in free agency or the draft. Keep spreading the wealth. How about that? We're not just only a Christian McCaffrey team. We are a total football team.
I like that. I don't know if I second it, but I definitely like it. I'll say this before I end my piece of this pie. But I'll say what's going wrong in Carolina. And I know a lot of people are going to say, but you said it was going right. What's going wrong in Carolina by default is the quarterback position. And I'm not ragging on Teddy, guys. I'm not ragging on Teddy. He was the man for the job. You needed a quarterback after Cam Newton. You needed a quarterback that you were not going to draft, someone that you were going to bring in and that can get the job done. Teddy has done that, but he's also shown you the potential that this offense could have. Because like Jay said, Samuel, Anderson, Moore, that looks pretty solid. You add in a tight end, that's going to do wonders. The offensive line, there's work there. There's work there. But the potential is there, especially with some better talented players. And then the running back position, like you say, McCaffrey has shown you, hey, he's a big time back. But he's also shown you, hey, he has not played this. He hasn't played this year, pretty much. And you had Mike Davis playing the bulk of the year, and he's been serviceable. He's been great. Then you have Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater has some pieces around him, and you have not seen the production that you hope to see of your quarterback. But you guys are familiar with big-time production from having a big-time star in Cam Newton. You know what a quarterback can do for a team. It can get you to the Super Bowl. Teddy Bridgewater and the quarterback position and the quarterback room at this point, they're not that. They're not getting you to a Super Bowl. But Teddy has been a bridge quarterback. He's been a nice bridge to whoever you're going to bring in there. I think that it may be absurd, but you may want to look at a rookie quarterback for that first pick come April. But like I say, I'm just speaking off the cuff. The quarterback position there's something there to be desired, but there's also something there to say, hey man, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely not good though, guys. It's not good. And Teddy, thank you for all you've done. And thank you for all you're going to continue to do. But you guys got to get the future in there. And I'm going to just say that's what, to me, that's what's going wrong, but right. But it's wrong. Jay, any final thoughts?
I mean, we pretty much nailed it all, man. I think, what's for dinner tonight, brother?
Oh, dinner. Dinner is going to be a nice, get this, guys. It's going to be a nice turkey burger with Swiss cheese on a whole wheat bun with some of my teriyaki au sauce that I made. It's homemade, man. It's homemade. Guys, I had a reality
teriyaki sauce.
Yeah, man, it's wild too, but it's good. But I had a reality check, and I said, you know what, big guy, you got to get your health in check. You got to get your health in check. Not to mention the doctors help say it too. They help say it. But I said, man, you got to get your health in check. So I'm going to have that along with the fruit cup. And man, it's going to be so good. I tested it out last night. I'm going to admit my turkey burger's kind of dry. I overcooked the thing. Okay. Okay. That's why I have my teriyaki au on the sandwich. But man, it's really good. The potential for me to master this thing is it's priceless. It's there. So that's what I'm going to have, man. What's on the table, Jay?
Trial and error, brother. Me and the missus is going to spend some quality time. We're going to make some homemade pizzas.
Oh, goody. What's on the pizza, man?
Everything. Pepperoni. Fresh ingredients, man. We went to the health store. That's where we stay at, man. The health store. We went to the health store and we got fresh mushrooms, fresh peppers, fresh onions, fresh pepperoni cut right in the white overcoat, looking like I don't know, the meat cutter from the cartoon shows. but definitely fresh everything, man. We're gonna pop it in the oven, man. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna watch either Mandalorian or I'm gonna try and give basketball or the whatever football a break for the night. And I'm gonna just kick back and relax, man, and get ready for the weekend. It's a long weekend, brother.
Oh yeah, it sounds good, man. You know, we went from keep pounding to what we're eating to what we're having and the weekend scope. And man, it really just sounds good, but it's not gonna sound as good as the Role Players podcast playing on this weekend for all of you guys and gals out there. You have to make sure that not only you, but a friend of a friend that may even know an enemy but knows another friend, that they all download the Role Players podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, of course, and Spreaker, home of the Role Players, as well as several other platforms. You can't forget to find us on Facebook. We have a group, guys. I mean, the group is lit to the heavens, man. It is a group that keeps the things freshly entertaining. You don't want to miss the entertainment that goes on in our group, as well as an IG page and a Twitter page where you can tweet and meme us or whatever at the _players. You got to look for us. Don't forget to share this. Don't forget to like this. Don't forget to debate us. Don't forget to be the all-stars that you guys already are. Because, hey, we're just role players playing a viable role in your daily and weekly sports lives. And as always, we don't miss a beat. It doesn't matter whether it's college or whether it's big-time pro or whether it's local sports. Oh, man, how I miss the local sports. I want a dash game back. That's what I want. Oh, Corona, you've done a dirty deed. But to all of our fans out here, it's been a great show and it's been a great ride. You guys enjoy the weekend and enjoy the week and play the episode as if you're playing your last song. And the band plays on, but the Titanic goes strong. Our Titanic doesn't sink. So you guys hold it down out there and be the all-stars that you are. We're out.